Coming up, the vaccine rollout continues. When and how will COVID restrictions begin to ease?
ITV Lunchtime News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good afternoon. In just a week's time, Boris Johnson will reveal the plan for lifting the lockdown in England. But today he warned it would be cautious and irreversible, despite being under pressure to open up shops, pubs and restaurants quickly. The Prime Minister's warnings came after the vaccine was rolled out to over 65s and younger people with underlying health conditions, a glimmer of hope for those desperate to meet their friends and families again, as our political correspondent Carl Dinnan reports. Well, our political editor, Robert Peston, joins us now. So, Robert, lots of talk about which restrictions will be eased and when. Any idea of what they'll actually be? Robert, thank you. We're talking of travel. The travel quarantine scheme begins in England and Scotland today, with the first passengers checking into hotels. UK and Irish residents arriving in the country after visiting or passing through red list countries must stay in a government-approved hotel room for 10 days. In a moment, we'll see. As we've been hearing, lots of speculation around when pubs, cafes and restaurants will be allowed to reopen. Today, the boss of Wetherspoons called on the government to open pubs at the same time as non-essential shops. Well, joining me now is the chief. Still to come. But first, the father of the missing chef, Claudia Lawrence, has died. Peter Lawrence passed away without learning what happened to his daughter, who disappeared more than a decade ago. In that time, he campaigned to bring about Claudia's law for those who, like him, had lost their loved ones. Sangeeta Kandola has his story. Now, Prince Harry and Meghan's second child would be entitled to American citizenship if she or he is born in the United States. The couple, Chris, very happy news, isn't it? Nice to talk about something happy. But before we get to the baby, can we talk about that photo?
Yeah, I thought you might want to start. Yes, OK.
Baby bump. There's quite a bump there already. How far along do we
I mean, obviously, they won't guide us on when
as well, possibly due around the same time. Zara Phillips?
Yeah, Zara Phillips is also pregnant, so it will be either great-grandchild number 10 or 11.
You're doing very well keeping up with all this. Yes. I've got to ask you...
I've got it written down.
I've got to ask you finally, speculation already over baby names, already. And now
I don't know how they do this. I mean, I had an email literally in my inbox.
Much. And finally, in the fickle world of politics, there has been one constant at number 10. He's all right, he's just retired. That is it this lunchtime. The ITV Evening News is at 6:30. The news where you are follows the national weather. But from everyone here on the lunchtime team, bye-bye. Hello again. Now the main stories in London. And a senior executive of the French firm Arconic, which made the flammable cladding on Grenfell Tower, is due to give evidence at the inquiry into the fire today. Claude Schmitt has been using French law to avoid speaking for several months now, but he faces questions about the fire, which led to the death of 72 people. As we've been hearing, passengers arriving in the capital from high-risk countries are now required to quarantine at hotels near London airports. A director of a group of nightclubs in London fears they will struggle to survive if they aren't given more help. The Prime Minister is expected to announce his roadmap out of lockdown next Monday. Nightclub owners say they hope to get information on what extra financial support will be given. Another anti-HS2 campaigner who was occupying the underground tunnels near Euston Station has voluntarily left overnight. In football, Women's Super League leaders Chelsea are now 5 points clear at the top of the table with a 5-0 win. And from South East London to Twickenham Stadium. A very wet and miserable start today. How things looking for later? Here's Sally with the weather. And that is it for now. Duncan is here at 6. Until then, bye-bye.